All right, y'all. This is When Ebenezer Talks. Obviously, I'm not Milton Bunton, but I found this an honor and a privilege to interview one of my pops who got me started in music ministry in terms of acts of worship, how to be disciplined and stuff. So I found this an honor to interview and for you guys to get to know a little more about Harry Chisum, who has been driving bus, been retired 50, and back driving again. I don't know why. He's been involved in music, pretty much play for everybody on the shore. We're gonna get into that too, hopefully, for at least 60 years, and is the founder and owner, CEO, president, all that good stuff of H&M Associates, which that's been established back in 1990. So he's on his 33rd year. So privileged to have you here. And let's start with your recent accomplishment. You being retired at 50 years of Accomack County Public Schools. What inspired you to want to be a bus driver, and when did you start?
At the time I started driving the school bus, my uncle Preston Cullen was a bus driver, and he kind of gave me the influence of driving the bus. So I learned through him, under him. Then I went to the class of a bus driver. Got my license and started driving school bus.
So now I've heard. Now this is what I heard. Now your son Harry Jr. and Cherie probably can confirm. There've been some mornings that you start that bus up, and if they weren't on that bus when you started up, they got left. Now I don't know how true it is.
That is true because every bus driver have a route, and they got to do it timely. You have the children at school at a certain time, and every minute you lose, you make the children late for class. So if they wasn't ready, they were no different from nobody else. They would be left.
Now, how was it at the time where they were just beginning the segregation? Like, was that, how is the time back then? Is it any different than how you driving now in terms of?
It's basically the racial situation is always going to be here.
Yeah.
We got to deal with that daily. But people was very kind and nice. I mean, black or white,
right,
that I came in contact with as parents and as teachers. Every once in a while, you find a few that give you problems, but you let your supervisor take care of that, and do your daily driving chores and get the children to school on time.
Mm-hmm. What was your passion? Like, what made you just say every year, I'm just gonna keep driving the bus? Like, was that something you just loved, just the fact you love children, or?
Well, I had a passion. I love my job, number one. I love children. You gotta love the children to drive them. I was substitute teacher. I worked sub in the cafeteria.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So
okay.
I worked around the school all day on some weeks. But the passion of a bus driver is taking care of the children. And I don't care what color they are. They're your children. Yeah. I remind my kids every day on the bus that when you step on the school bus, you leave your parents at home. I don't care if they're black or white, or Hispanic, or whatever nationality you are. I am your father and your mother until I get you to school. I got to take care of you. Anything happen to you, it's going to be my fault. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get my kids to school safe as possible. but my true passion is I just love kids, and I have a lot of children that now have grandkids.
Yeah.
That still talks to me, and when they see me out and tell me how good a bus driver that I've been, and how much I bless them, and parents tell me how well I bless the kids and took care of them through the school years.
And how was it, I guess now that your son is a second generation bus driver, how was that feeling when he told you, or when he told you, like, hey, I think I'm gonna drive a bus? Was that something that he was inspired through you, or that's something he always wanted to do, you think?
My son has a passion for driving anyway. He just has a passion for driving, as well as he loved the kids he carried as well. He drove for both counties, as he drove for charter services, like I have done. So he just have a passion of a driver too. That he loved driving. I'm gonna put it, but he just loved driving, and he loved the kids. I just put it that way. I can't say that much.
Yeah, I could tell, because I mean, just the way he's around kids and driving and stuff. I'm like, you can tell, like, it's a lot of influence from you. That the fact, I mean, even from not just school bus. I mean, you were doing charter bus too, and now he's doing it. He was doing it too. So
yes, I trained him to drive charter, and like I said, he was a young child riding my school bus from home. All my kids rode my bus, and like I said, it became a passion. That's something he wanted to do, and he's a good driver. He's a good driver. He does a very good job. He has great love for what he does. When you love what you do it so very well.
Yeah.
Do it so very well.
So what made you get into charter bus?
Well, when we used to go on field trips, and we used to drive the school bus on our field trips.
Right. Yeah.
And we had an air condition.
Right.
Fast the bus would run was 45 miles per hour.
Wow.
And if we had to go from Central High School to Richmond State Fair, like it take forever and a day.
Yeah, it took about 3-4 hours. Yeah.
And when we arrived to State Fair, we got windows down, sweating profusely.
Oh my God.
And here come all these nice charter buses coming up, air conditioned. And so I always say, one day I'm gonna drive one of those buses. 3 things that you don't have children do when they're growing up. They have 3 things or 4 things they want to do in life. Mm-hmm. And I said I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a police officer, and I always want to drive a charter bus because I like the Detroit buses as well. Yeah. And I accomplished all of them except being a policeman.
Wow.
I was a firefighter. I was firefighter 1, firefighter 2 class. I was an EMT. And through that, I worked at the hospital as a nurse's assistant. So all this came into my childhood dreams of what you want to be growing up. And I, like I say, the bus was one of them.
Wow. And so now, while we're on this bus subject, or more so the truck now, Pastor Bunton has preached and mentioned your name several times about the potato grater. So I think we need to share maybe 1 or 2 stories with Palmer.
Well, Pastor Bunton always was a great person as a young man. I was offered to operate this potato grater in Capeville. Mm. And I was always off the first job to my family. Mm. And my problem was I need a van driver. And I went to Pastor Bunton's mother, who was my cousin Virginia, and asked her, I wanted him to drive the band to carry some people to the Greater. And he'd done a great job. So he was such a good driver. I used to let him bring carry the van home. Mm-hmm. And his mom was all telling me, don't let that boy drive that van home. That van too big for him. But I said, I trust him, and he's doing a good job. And he did a real good job. When we go to work, the folk be there on time. He always picked everybody up on time, had them there. And starting the time, we ready to start. He's right there with the people. So he was a good person, and he loved it.
Yeah,
he loved it.
And now he's farming, driving tractors. And
yes, it is.
Combines and all that good stuff, and you can't get him off of them now.
No, he's sweet potato capital of the world.
Yeah. And we're going to music. Like, how old were you when you was inspired to want to play the piano? Because I mean, you've been playing for.
Well, what really inspired me was the church was buying a new piano, which I was a member of at that time, the New Allen AME Church in Franktown.
Mother's church, right? Mother's side.
My father.
Father's side. Your mother was here.
My mother was there because of the marriage.
Okay.
My mother was there with him.
Right.
And the church gave us the piano. And my Aunt Margaret, which is my mother's sister, played for a Pentecostal church.
Okay.
And she used to come over and play the piano. And my sister had learned how to play the piano, but I was going bang on it. And I bang, 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 bang all the time. And my sister used to fuss with me about it and tell my mom, tell the boy get off that piano making all that noise. And she said, let him alone. One day he might be a piano player, a musician. And I kept on playing till everybody had one little favorite song they learned was the new song everybody's learning is Lean On Me or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was a Temptation song.
Not My Girl, please don't let it be My Girl.
But I learned that little beat, and it began to grow into one finger to two fingers, to four fingers, to both hands. But the first time I played in church, I was about 7 years old. Minister of Music, Mr. James Francis, had to go to New York City on somebody in the family was ill, and he had to go to New York. And we had no musician for that day. So my grandmother asked me, would I go up there and just play a song for the offering. And that started my little career.
Wow.
Being a minister of music in the church. And then it just grew from that. And then as you get older, I went away from the church. And I decided I want to play out there with the bands and there in the beer joints. And, but my mother always told me that when God gives you a gift, that you better use it for his purpose.
Right.
And truly, I do have a gift from God for what I do. And I still didn't listen to my mother right away until one night, God showed me that I need to come back to him. And I brought my music back into the church. And I started playing for the Belhaven Circuit, St. Paul, St. Joseph,
okay,
under Reverend Tomlin. And I played them for years. but I was a member of the New Mount Zion Baptist Church. And I got a call from the pastor one day, my pastor, that one of the musicians had got ill. Could I come play for the choir? I went to the St. Paul circuit, told them that my church needed me and I had to go to help them. And I began to play for New Mount Zion Baptist Church special choir. Mrs. Bush was the musician for the youth choir. Mr. Stevens, Landville Stevens, was the musician for the male chorus, the senior choir, and he was the minister of music for the special choir. And that's when I took them over. As age began to more progress on him, he still hung in there. Mm-hmm. But then Miss Bush got sick and she passed. And I then began playing for the youth choir as well as the special choir. Then Mr. Stevens became very ill. Then I became the minister of music for 4 choirs of the New Mount Zion Baptist Church with the male chorus, the special choir, senior choir, and the youth choir. And this about the route I took in my music ministry. Also, during that time, different intervals, I played for many churches on the shore. I traveled with many churches, from AME to Baptist, even to some Pentecostal churches.
And how was, now I know you shared that, like where I'm at now, I have actually played at the Baptist General Convention of Virginia, well, at least twice. How was that with playing with your mentor, which was the late, great Kenny Parker?
Yes. Reverend Charles Mapp became the first pastor to be the president of the BGC, Baptist General Convention. And in that, we had to have a mass choir from the Eastern Shore.
Yep.
And he had also had to bring his choir, his mass choir of his church. Deacon Kenny Parker, who was a great mentor, he shared a lot with me in my music ministry. He helped me as I began to play in the church. He also guided me through my ministry. I don't know what I would do without him. I did without him. He also introduced me to the Baptist General Convention through that occasion. Mm-hmm. But before that, he also introduced me to Baptist Association. He made me his assistant musician in the association. And he gave me more knowledge of the association, it would help me to cross over into the convention, really.
Yeah,
because
yeah, absolutely.
He blessed me. And we had the opportunity to travel to Richmond. And we was at the Marriott. There was so many people was there.
Had to be Broad Street.
On Broad Street.
Yep.
And I know that night it was over 2,000 people in that building.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because they were tearing down partitions, walls, to open up the ballroom to span the room. And at that time, the president only did 1 year.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And at the end of his tenure, we went to the Hampton Executive, the Hampton Holiday Inn Executive Building. And that's where that we had the last night of our General Convention. And Deacon Kenneth Parker was a great mentor to me, as well as, we always call him Pop Bush, but Mr. Edward Bush, Dr. Edward Bush, who was one of the greatest organ players ever stepped foot on Eastern Shore.
Hands down. And I remember him as a little boy. Him and James Francis and Thelma Costin.
Yes.
Like they really took the Eastern Shore by storm.
They did.
And not to mention you and Kenny Parker, now Pastor Roland Major.
Right.
Like you guys have really set the tone for, what the shore is made of.
It's truly been a blessing. For God has given me all that I need to sing praises through the music and through songs to Him, because my true belief is that we don't sing to the people, we sing our praises unto God, and He bless the people of great memories and what He's about to do and what He already has done.
Yeah.
And being with Deacon Kenneth Parker and Dr. Edward Bush, it learned me a lot. It disciplined me in worship, that it's not about you. It's all about Him that put you there, who anointed you to give you what you need to give God the greatest blessing you ever could give Him, His song and praises back to Him.
And I'm going to mention some other names too that I think they're really up there with you as well. That's George Dennis.
Yes.
The late George Waters.
Yes.
Even Dickie Upshur, Richard Upshur.
Yes.
I mean, you had Anthony Ames. I mean, Mike Jones. You had. I mean, I can only say for me, me being involved in the '90s. Growing up at Mount Calvary, hearing Roland Major, and then hearing Thelma Costin, Anthony Ames, even Miss Alice Rogers came through here and there. And then if one of them couldn't go out, it was either you or James Francis.
You had so many.
Even we call him Popcorn. Mr. Braxton, James Braxton.
James Braxton, yeah. We had so many great mentors.
Joanne Spady.
Yes, there's so many.
So many.
That it's hard to start calling names. You'll miss.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss them because
you miss them, yeah.
It wasn't a robbery out there. It was just a blessing that we used to have what we called back then it's choir festivals, and we don't have those no more. That the churches was coming together and the choirs would sing, and it wasn't about who could sing the best, but just praising the Lord and through song.
And just seeing looking out here and seeing all these different robes and how they sometimes march up. And they got to do a selection before they do the A and B selection.
Yeah, that was a great thing. Was about then at that time is the processional.
Yes.
That was the greatest thing in the world.
Yes. I kind of miss it. I think, I'm not going to say it's irrelevant now, but I mean, a lot of churches don't really do it, I guess, because of conservative time. But hearing the doxology, that really sometimes set that tone with how worship was.
Well, I learned that the AME service was a whole lot different from the Baptist service.
Yeah, I played it. I played at the AME church
because
St. Luke, Chamonix.
It's a different service, but it was all for the same glorious occasion to bless God, and I enjoyed every minute and moment. I'm still enjoying it. I'm not ashamed to say it. God has blessed me to be 68 years old, and I'm still out there doing the best I can.
That's right. and who musically, what music really hit you? Now I know the answer. I will get the answer if you want me to. You always told me who you like, how you model your playing which was Walter Hawkins was one.
Walter Hawkins.
Now, what was some other ones?
Clay Evans.
Clay Evans, yeah.
The great James Cleveland. It was so many out there that because you at that time you played for more than one choir or chorus, and your music was always different category. It was category, you know.
Yeah.
And you had the quartet singers that you grabbed the songs from, like Spiritual Airs, different great groups. The Swan Quintets. There's so many great groups out there, like I said, that blessed me and helped me to bless the different groups I played for, male as well as intermediate or senior or male chorus or youth choir. It all had its, music had its role for each choir. And I'm a particular now of certain songs for different choirs or chorus or whatever you wanted to call them. Everybody can't sing the same song.
That's right.
Can't sing the same song.
That's right. I agree.
Most of the songs are sung now are basically testimonies. And sometimes it's hard to sing somebody else's testimony.
Yeah.
And I always tell the choir or the chorus, don't sing what they're singing. We're going to sing the same song, but you got to sing your testimony, what God has done for you. You can't sing what God done for him, but you can sing about what God done for you. Yeah. And just put yourself right in that same place, and you can sing that same song. Yeah. Because all you're doing is testifying about his life, and you can do the same thing.
And even your influence of music has made an impact in your family, because you got Harry Jr. playing drums now, doing keyboard now. You got LJ doing drums.
My
Jordan,
is trying to play guitar.
He's trying to play guitar. We give you that one, Jordan. We give you that one, bro. You got Cherie
playing drums. She plays school drums, school band.
No,
drums.
really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna get on that. And then you got Markel.
Markel is now playing drums in church with me.
Yeah. And me, I'm just whatever. I'm just the organist. Drummer here and there.
Yeah, but now most of us are Hammond organ.
Yeah, that's just me now. I've been relieved of my drumming duties here and there. I might jump on there, relieve some stress, but most cases I'm on the organ or keyboard. So I mean, you really have made an impact when it comes to music in terms on who. You play for, like I say, you play for just about everybody around here, and I feel like you gave all that you done to me, cause
I sure did.
I mean, from association, we can sit here and talk about Holy Week.
Yes,
we used to have to pack up, and back then we had 5 churches, and we didn't do one night, one church, one location for 5 nights. We would go on to a different church, location, a different night with a different choir.
Yes.
And we literally had to pack that stuff up that night. Sometimes take it to the next church.
Yes.
To set up, because it wouldn't sometimes be enough time to get there at the appropriate time the following night to set up and not have to rush and then have to play and do it over again. We did it for several years, and then they finally, settled to just doing one location and at 5 nights. And by that time, old dude here left me. But even with that, I even shared when he probably shared when I first came to him. I'm gonna start with association. I've been in association now for 21 years. Wow, 21 years. And Harry gave me my start. I was already playing, and I think my first association that I played for was Tabernacle in Horntown. And Pastor Dickerson was the moderator at the time. No, I'm sorry. Bishop Jenkins, Isaac Jenkins was the moderator at the time, but we was at Pastor Dickerson's church, which was Tabernacle. And I played drums that year. I wasn't an assistant yet. Actually, it was my man Shakarius Shreves, which he was he's definitely one of my influences as well in terms of contemporary music. And he was playing, and he ended up moving to Maryland to be an officer. So the following year, we had it at New Macedonia in Pocomoke City, Maryland. And that was actually my first official year as the assistant to the Minister of Music of the association. And we rolled with it till about 2017. Right. 2017. And I remember when I go back to the first night, he threw me and my sister Wisteria Robinson together and said, "Hey, come on, put this choir together, get some songs together." And I didn't even know at the time, Wisteria, and later found out that we were cousins. We were cousins, close cousins. But she's basically my sister, and so that connection was really a lot from Harry. That he made a really impact in that connection. So we had rehearsal. I remember one song, I think "My Life Is in His Hands," that was really popular at the time. Yeah. And we rehearsed. We had about 80, 90 kids. It was a lot. I want to say about 80. It filled the entire choir up, and I think we had some behind us, if I'm not mistaken. And we went through it. Right before church started, he asked me in Wisteria, he said, "Y'all good?" I was like, "What he mean we good?" I'm thinking, he gonna play too. Oh no. He said, "I'll see y'all later." "See you later? What are you talking about?" And that's when he just showed me and taught me, hey, I can do it, and showed me, hey, you can do this. You can do it on your own. And especially on a big stage. Now, I'm used to being at church on Sundays and doing it, but where you dealing with 20, I think it was like 28 churches, 29 at the time. 29. And they all coming together. It was hot. It was in the summer of July. Yes. It was hot. And I'm already nervous. I'm sweating bullets, making sure I do the stuff right. And after all that, it was good, And each year, I help him with all the other services, but youth night was just basically me. He'll come to me, "Hey son, you straight? You got everything? You good to go?" "Yep." He'll walk away. He'll stand in the back, and I do what I got to do. And we did it up to about 2017, and then he retired from doing that because I think he was doing it for at least 30.
No, I did it for at least 40 years.
40 years association. So I took over from that, and a lot of that came from him. So all from one question he asked me. He said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes." And trust me, I tell him all the time. I said, sometimes I wish I didn't say yes so quickly. But it's been a pleasure being on the road with him musically. Of course, we're going to talk about your business. But musically, just all the rides, all the talks, from Salisbury, doing Pocomoke. He'll have to play and still drive a charter bus to take the church to. I'll never forget that. I think we went to Chesapeake one year with Antioch. Right. And he drove the charter bus and still played, drove the charter bus back. I'm like, man, this dude is a machine or something. But he's passionate about what he does, and I just appreciate as I told him before, even before this interview, you give people their flowers while they can still smell them, because you just never know, and you just appreciate what they've done for you and to you and through you what to impart it into your life, not just musically, but he literally had taken me in as one of his own children, and even their family, even his family with the sibling, they call me bro. So it's a blessing and an honor to musically be with him. Now I also have the opportunity to be with him from another perspective, which is sound systems, video systems, to pews, anything you want. He came up with the company H&M Associates. So what made you want to start something like that?
Well, as you said a while ago, as we travel from church to church, as the great song leaders say, we travel from church to church.
Yeah.
But we found that a lot of times you could never hear what the choir was singing because the mic was so distorted. And at that time, mostly in this area, Eastern Shore area, we had a company called the Radio Shack. And a lot of that realistic equipment, that's the name of the equipment, realistic, was really bad equipment. And it was only for, not for preaching like the black churches. I'm gonna say it just like
Yeah.
and not on some white churches as well.
Yeah.
But it was just like not just like a regular public address system that you just only doing is talking or anything that in that way. You needed something that when you sing that you could hear the voices clear.
Right.
And understand every word the choir or the preacher was preaching about, because it's not the music, it's always the word that bless you. And if you can't hear the words, then you're not blessed by that song because you don't know what it's saying.
Right.
So I asked God to give me something, show me what can I do to help the churches. And God gave me this business. And I was given the first opportunity of my work as H&M Associates as a sound system to the New Mount Calvary Baptist Church in Exmoor, Virginia, under the great pastor Jeffrey L. Smith.
What up, Pops?
And from that year, I was introduced to a manufacturer of pews through a young man. He came through selling pews, and he put me under his wings and taught me the ropes of the job, and I became a licensed pew salesman for a manufacturer. This all started back in 1990. And as God gave me more and more, I found that I had to go to research to get more to offer to the churches that they needed more. And a lot of the business didn't want to share that with you. So thank God for the computer. And I went out I researched and found different distributors of good equipment, Yamaha, JBL, Fender, Peavey, many more, Electrovores, EV, so many more. And I wrote them letters and saying that I am a small business, just trying to make it, can you help me? And they began to give me my dealership. And this year I began this business. And as years became, churches need more. Mm-hmm. Things would begin to change from acoustics to digital, I had to find somebody to help me in this, because God will bless you with people if you would just ask Him for it. And at that time, my son here, I asked him to come in with me because he knows everything about computers, digital equipment. Because the business began to grow, we was into the media program. And he helped me to grow this business to where it is now. Right now, he is my assistant. So if you see him anywhere and you need anything, you can talk to him because he is the business as well. But my family is built up on family. Ralph Harmon Jr., Bobby Harmon, and then our little siblings. We got them with us when we need them. But this is H&M Associates. Dominic White, Bobby Harmon, Ralph Harmon Jr. This is H&M Associates. And I thank God for it. We have did many churches here on the Eastern Shore, and we're still working. From 1990 until now, God has increased our territory. God has truly blessed us. I got to thank my wife, because she came on one night, she said, "A man without a vision would perish." And I had to walk into my vision. God gave me this vision, and because Eli wasn't going to go nowhere, I was about to give up. But no. I'm going to walk in my vision. God gave me this vision, and I'm 68. That don't make no difference. I can pass it on, but I'm walking in the vision.
And I feel like we could end it right there. If you want to, how would they contact you? I help them with the website, which is hmassociates.biz, B-I-Z, hmassociates.biz. You see, like what he mentioned, the companies that he does deal with the Yamaha, Ada Imaging, which is the cameras we use, Black Magic, which is basically what we're being recording through right now, to JBLs, to EVs and PV, like he said. So you get to see that, and if you want to get a consultation, you can go there and fill out the form, and we'll get it and get with you. But is there any other information that if they want to contact you?
Yes, you can contact us at 757-710-7490 or 757-414-1451.
Who number is that?
That's your number.
Oh, okay. Continue.
You can contact me or Dominique. Like I said, if you don't talk to me, Dominique is still me. Whatever you need, we can get it for you. Whatever sound system you need, we can get it for you. Whatever you need for your church, we can get it for you, from A to Z. And if we don't have it, I make sure that we'll find it for you.
So I thank Pastor Button for allowing me to interview my pop. I call Pastor Button my dad, but this is my pop here. So it's an honor to interview both of you guys at two separate times, of course, for When Ebenezer Talks. And hopefully you'll see us next week with another special guest that has been a major impact in part of Black history on the Eastern Shore. I can't tell you who it is, so you have to tune in next week to find out who it is. All right, God bless. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.